Hello friends, this is Worm. I have not thought of a clever intro for today. And we have a major problem. 85% of y'all are not subscribed. So go down there, hit the sub button. There's no reason not to. Turn on the bell notification bell, whatever, so you get notifications when I do a video. Now, let's talk about the real problem at hand, which is, of course, with the competitive playlist. And oh my god, here we go. Competitive playlist, right? This is the 3v3 playlist. It is skill-based, it's ranked play, so to speak, and it is a big deal, and it has the potential to be a lot of fun, but there are a bunch of things that are sucking the fun out of it. Now, before we go any further, no, this is not a video talking about metas and, skill-based matchmaking and stuff like that. No, these are two issues that I have consistently run into in my competitive games that actually ruin the experience for me, and not just for me, but for everybody, right? And the two issues that we're gonna be talking about is, number one, the incredibly long wait times between games, right? And the second thing is the fact that an ungodly number of people leave comp games because they're mad. They rage quit. And we're going to talk about both of those and maybe some ways that Bungie could fix them. But I want to start with the first one, which is, in my opinion, the easier of the two topics, which is long queue times. Now, I know that comp is not supposed to be, the fun playlist, right? It's not supposed to be a playlist where, yeah, I'm going to go in here and have fun. Like, it is more skill-based, skill-driven. You're going to find much more, meta loadouts. It's not the game mode you go into to say, I want to try this weapon out, or I want to try this build out. No, comp is a game mode you go into to win, right? And I get that, but the load times are insanely long. Like there are times when I'm waiting 7 to 8 minutes to find a comp game, especially once you get to that higher end, the ascendant rank and whatnot. It takes forever to find those games. And obviously this is an issue that's not affecting every single player out there. Like you could be watching this thinking, oh, I don't have any issue finding comp games. That could be very true, but also, are you ascendant rank? Because I think my ascendant rank people, or my very high ranking competitive players, they know what I'm talking about. Like, they know that the wait times are ridiculously long, and even on a Friday night when Destiny is at its peak, it takes a long time to find these games, right? And so what can Bungie do about it? Well, this is the big issue, I guess. I don't know what they can do about it. Like, obviously, comp is skill-based, right? Bungie has to have skill-based matchmaking in there. You don't want people at ascendant rank fighting people at gold rank 3, right? That's not going to be a fun game for the gold rank 3s. And really, it's not going to be a fun game for the ascendant ranks. Like, I don't know about y'all. I don't like games where I just absolutely step on the enemy, right? Like, I like games that are engaging and fun, that make me think, okay, like, hey, I've got to think about how they're approaching this. Like, I've got to be careful because I know these guys are on my skill level, So Bungie can't just match gold rank 3s with platinum division ranks and stuff like that. So I don't really know what they can do about it necessarily to fix this problem. The only suggestion I could make is just expand the matchmaking parameters to grow for a shorter time periods in between. So basically, the way matchmaking works now is it looks for people who are very, very close to your rank. Like, say you're at 5,000 rank, right? It is looking for players that are, 4,800 to 5,200. I don't know. These are made up numbers, but it's very narrow. It's a narrow field, right? There may be 1 or 2 wins ahead of you, right? Doesn't find somebody, then it expands those parameters. Okay, so now instead of looking between 48 and 52, now it's 47 and 5,300 rank, right? And then it goes further, and then it's okay, now it's 45 to 5,500. Like, anybody in here is going to get matched, and then it'll pull people that are available to play games and searching for games, so that you have a mix of variety, but it does try to match with people that are closer to your skill level. Unfortunately, again, when you get to the very, very high ranks, there's no one above you, so it can only pull people under. And of course, the way it works is Bungie doesn't want it to prioritize pulling players that are worse than you. It would rather pull players that are, higher than you than players that are under you. And again, the reason why is because the majority of players are lower level. So ascendant rank people, or people that are close to ascendant rank, platinum rank 1, blah, 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 whatever, right? They are playing against other players who are platinum rank 1 or a similar rank, and the game is not trying very hard to find them players that are under that level. But of course, that comes back to bite Ascendant rank players in the ass, because now it takes us forever to find games, because it will only match us with other Ascendant rank players. And if there's not a lot of players on, which, I mean, there's already not a lot of Ascendant rank players in the game, period, but how many are playing at a time? You know, you've got people all over the world. Of course, it has to find people that are, you know, location based, so they're not lagging all over the place, blah, 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 blah. Like, there's all these, you know, inner workings. I don't really know how Bungie can do it outside of just expanding those parameters in shorter time frames. Instead of waiting 1 minute and then expanding, you know, the parameters, make it 30 seconds, make it 15 seconds. I don't really know, but that's the more minor of the two issues. The primary issue that I have with the competitive playlist, and what sucks the fun out of it, is the ego of players that play this game, right? And we talked yesterday about egos, you know, and there's no such thing as cheap weapons, you know, because there's not, right? Players' egos are the biggest contributor to the lack of fun. And it's not because they're teabagging and stuff like that. No, it's because they get sniped one time, or they get counter sniped one time, and they say, nope, I'm not doing this. I'm not playing this. And they leave. Literally, the most problematic thing in the competitive playlist right now is just players leaving games before they're complete. And look, I don't care how good you are. You know, I would like to think of myself as a very strong player, and I can build very, very heavily into the ability to take on, you know, 3v1s and 2v1s. But it is very difficult to win a game when you're the only person on your team, or when it's a 2v3, right? Like, no matter who you are, it's difficult to win that. So it's very frustrating when people leave, you know. And then if you're on the other end, you know, your team has 3 people and there's only 1 up on the other side, then the fun's gone, because now you're fighting with your team for who gets the kills, right? That is not a fun situation, but that's where we are with Destiny, right? And it's because of players and their weak, terrible, horrible, awful egos. And it's quite frankly, it's disgusting, you know. It really is. In fact, you'll see, not this game, but in the next game, we had the entire enemy team left the game because they were salty that we won, right? And it's like, I get the DDoS has been going on, right? But this is not exclusive to this week. This is exclusive to basically ever since comp has been a thing, right? This is last season we had this issue. Earlier this season we had this issue. Like this is nothing new to competitive. Like, people leaving in the competitive playlist is nothing new. And of course, your results may vary. If you are, you know, lower down on the scale, you might not have people leaving as much as I do. Or if you're at the very, very high level, you know, the Ascendant rank, like we just talked about, and you're not matching with many people, yeah, you're probably not having as many people leave. But I'm currently, I think, Platinum 2 or something like that. I'm like in the rank, I'm in like the 6,600, 6,700 rank, if I'm not mistaken. And man, the number of players that just leave games because they get honestly, the ego challenge and they die and then they get all pissy about it is unreal. Like, don't be a little bitch. Sorry for my language. Don't be a little bitch. Like, fight the game out. Just because you get counter sniped, just because you get outplayed because somebody, you know, flanks around and kills you, does not mean that you have to leave the game. And I think that the only way that Bungie can realistically punish this is by implementing harsh bans on people, right? And I'll be the first to say I don't like the idea of doing harsh bans, right? Because players do have genuine connection issues, you know, DDoSs happen, you know, just general connection issues happen, you know, maybe your service gets interrupted for 2 seconds, but it kicks you out of the game world. Well, now, you know, you're faced with a pretty harsh penalty of however long, right? But I think that's kind of the only thing that we can do, right? Because here's the thing, like, players obviously don't care about leaving games currently, right? And let me back up for just a second. I can tell when somebody leaves a game and when somebody is kicked from a game, right? Whenever I kill an enemy and immediately down in the feed, like for example, the sniper situation, I bring this up because, oh my God, last night, I cannot tell you how many people left after getting sniped in the first round. Like, they get up there with their sniper, I slide around. I've got slide shot, opening shot on my sniper. Like, once I have that, my accuracy is insane. My aim assistance is at 100. I'll slide around the corner, aim down sights, boom, pick them off. Down there in the feed, so-and-so has left the game. Okay, that's how you know when somebody leaves the game versus somebody who's kicked from the game, right? When somebody's kicked from the game, you know, you kill 2 enemies and then it says, okay, the round's over, then it does the timer. And a lot of times it'll get like laggy. Like the timer will stay at 0 for X amount of time, or, you know, it'll show the little scoreboard in between rounds and it'll get stuck on that scoreboard for, quite a while, and it'll load back in and you'll see that there's only 2 enemies, right? And then, you know, maybe 30 seconds into that round, it'll say so-and-so left the game. Like that's a connection issue. That's an error code. Leaving the game just outright, like you can tell when somebody leaves versus when somebody is kicked, right? And so I'm not just saying this, you know, because, everybody is getting, you know what? Never mind. I know when people leave versus when people get kicked. And the people that are leaving games, they're leaving games. They're not getting kicked. There was one game yesterday where, it was a 2v3 and I was like, oh, of course, or 3v2, I should say. It was 3v2. I was like, of course somebody left. Like, what's new? But I could tell they got kicked because 30 seconds after they had left the game, then it said so-and-so has left the game, right? It's ridiculous the amount of people that leave games because their little feelings get hurt, right? And if you're one of those people, if you watching this video are one of those people that leaves comp games because you're sensitive, because so-and-so hurt your feelings because they counter sniped you, or because so-and-so's using X gun that you don't like, get over yourself, okay? Get over it and learn to counterplay. In yesterday's video, we talked about there's no such thing as a cheap weapon. Okay, there's counterplay to every single weapon that exists in Destiny 2. I will fight and I will die on that hill because there is. You have to be the one to find it. You cannot count on your enemies, oh, well, so-and-so's using Lemon Arc and I'm just not going to play that. Okay, be a bitch about it. I don't care. That's fine with me. You can go be a little bitch somewhere. Go back to 6s. Don't get in competitive playlists if you're going to leave games. And of course, this is not everybody. There's a bunch of you watching who have never left a comp game. Props to you. Okay, y'all are the MVPs, right? I stay in my comp games. Even if both my teammates leave, I stay in my comp games. Why? Because that's what men do. That's what hardcore gamers do. That's what separates the good from the great. Somebody's comment yesterday said that. I don't remember who it was, but somebody left an excellent comment talking about separating the good from the great. But that is what separates the good from the great. The ability to counterplay and the ability to not leave games because your little feelings get hurt because so-and-so did better than you. In fact, I would argue that's how you improve. Playing players who are obviously better than you is how you get better. That's one of the reasons I don't leave comp games, right? Because, okay, my team's gone. I'm probably going to lose this game. If I'm going to lose, I might as well try things that, in my head probably wouldn't work. But you know what? Why not? Why not try it? Right? That's how you get better. Anyways, this soapbox has gone on long enough. It turned into a discussion, to a rant. Of course, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. By the way, this is the game where that dude left, literally, I think in the next round or something like that. At any rate, I want to hear your thoughts on these two issues in the competitive playlist. Obviously, like I said, with the matchmaking times, this is a difficult one, and I wouldn't even say that I'm qualified, I guess, to talk on it. Oh, that was a crispy snipe. Sorry. I wouldn't really say that I'm necessarily qualified to speak on it, but when it comes to players leaving, really get over yourselves. Get over yourselves. Play the game, fight it out. Let me know your thoughts, though. What are your thoughts on the matchmaking queues? What are your thoughts on people leaving the game? If you have ever left a comp game for a non-in-game or for a reason that is in-game, not because of connection issues, not because, your dog got sick, and you had to go. If you ever left a comp game, actively made the decision, you know what, I'm leaving this game because I'm not playing in it, tell me why. And before we go, I forgot to mention this earlier, cheaters, right? And I think this is a big thing that a lot of people say. It's like, oh, well, cheaters exist in Destiny 2, but they are so few and far between that I do not think that's a valid excuse, right? The last time I encountered a cheater was literally back in, I think it was May, right? I think it was May, and that person obviously was a hacker. He was literally flying around the map with Golden Gun and, what's it called? Celestial Nighthawk. I inspected him. He had a brand new character and everything. I know that there are cheaters in Destiny 2, but the amount of people that leave comp games cannot be justified by, oh, I thought he was cheating, right? I don't want to hear that in the comments. Oh, well, I left a comment because I thought somebody was cheating. Okay, leave your evidence. I'll tell you whether they're cheating or not. You can tell who's cheating versus who's not cheating, right? I have not played a cheater in a long time. I haven't even played a subtle cheater, and there's a difference between hackers and subtle cheaters. Like, subtle cheaters are those that use like Zim and Cronus, right? Like, they're not hacking the game files by any means, but they're using things to give themselves a combat advantage. You can tell who uses those. There's not many of them. I rarely see somebody who I even have to ask, like, oh, is this somebody who's cheating? Right? I just don't see it. Okay, so I don't think cheating is a viable excuse to use to leave games. And unless you have hard video evidence of somebody who's cheating, I'd say just leave it out. But yeah. Anyway, sorry, little tiny mini soapbox, but yeah, let me know your thoughts on this video and all the thoughts that we had. Sorry that it was kind of ranty because I didn't mean for it to turn out that way, but yeah, of course, if you liked it, or if you agree with it, or if you disagree with it, feel free to drop a like anyways, because it helps out my channel a lot. Of course, subscribe for more daily Destiny content and conversations such as this one, as well as debates, because we do those too. And yeah, do me a favor, y'all have a good day and watch the videos you see on the end screen, because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you will like them. Bye for now, guys.